Thought I added Robbin in there. There he is. What's going on?
You're trying to kick me out, aren't you? Yeah, you are.
I was just gonna kick you out and go solo tonight.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah, you're like, oh, see you later. I'm out of here. How's Robbin?
Just running from one meeting to the next thing. So yeah, it's been a kind of crazy day. So yep.
Yeah, sounds like it. And you literally made it in here last second.
Yeah, exactly. I just had everything set up before I had to go to my meeting, and so this just came in. It was like there was like 3 seconds on the countdown left when I popped in.
Yeah, it's funny because the one thing people can't see that side of things that we see on here, and I was watching literally right when we were at the last few seconds, I just see you just pop up at the bottom of the screen. So I was like, he's going to be here.
Yep. So, yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
So, how's things there? How's things with you?
Not too bad. Busy as usual. Very busy weekend. Booked Friday and had an all-night Saturday and Sunday daytime and all that good stuff. So, pretty busy weekend. Got to see some familiar faces over the weekend, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Some friends come in and investigate and all.
Yeah. Had some familiar faces come in here, and actually some familiar faces that actually was down the street at Asher Walton House. So
cool.
Yeah. So, and it was kind of funny because they didn't know each team knew each other, but they didn't know that the other team was actually investigating each place. Yeah. So they were just like, hey. So, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of wild then.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty cool though. So got to go down and eat at the Choo Choo Cafe with the group, and so pretty nice weekend. What about you? Busy weekend?
Oh yeah, nothing more than usual. But yeah, I worked on the house out there, so that's keeping me busy. And in fact I was out at Ashmore for him. I went out there like a week on Tuesday and came home the following Friday night, and then we turned around and went back on Saturday and came home Sunday night. So I was out there for like about 7 days straight or 8 days straight, something like that. So yeah, it was pretty busy.
Yeah, sounds like it. So how's the house coming along? Is it getting there?
Not as fast as I want, and it's kind of behind schedule, but I'm just kind of all I can do is what I can do with the help that I've got when they show up or when they're able to. So so once I get the roof on, it'll be a lot better. Then I'll be able to do more things. So we're just waiting to get that on and talk to a guy today.
Close,
hopefully, yeah. I mean, we got half the metal on. So and I've got a contractor I talked to that might come over and finish it off for me. Make it a little easier and to get it done and wrap it up and finish it off and move on to the interior stuff then. So
yeah. Good deal.
It just takes time, and
and
then the hotter it gets, the worse it is. So it's like, I don't need that problem. So, but we're just kind of stuck with it. So
yeah, it's been pretty miserable today. It's been crazy hot here. I'm sure it's probably the same there. It's like that pretty much about everywhere, I think, right now.
Yeah, we were going to take last weekend off and not do anything. But then I told Norma, I said, it's supposed to be like 81 for a high. We need to do this. So, like, okay. So she was like,
before it's like 107.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be that, it's supposed to be like, high 80s, mid 80s this weekend. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like some storms coming in to cool things down a little bit.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
One of our regulars pops in here. So, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how's the bookings and everything? You still filling up with what little bits you have left?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I had somebody contact me the other day that wanted we want to come up for a Saturday. I might check November because that's the first Saturday, and we actually just booked some weekday today that people wanted to come out. So I'm like, yeah, we can do it. So they booked a weekday, and we got a couple of other ones that are doing that. So it's not a problem. We can do weekdays as well as we can do weekends. Unfortunately, people think that it's going to be cheaper on weekdays, and it's like, it costs just the same to open the door on a weekday as it does on a Friday or Saturday. It doesn't make any difference. And so
Yeah.
it's like you can't. I know there's some places out there discounting rates if you come on a weekday, but it's like if I lived over there, maybe I could do something like that. But since I don't,
Yeah.
I can't. And
Yeah.
so you just got to go with the regular stuff and hope for the best, so to speak. So.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we're still booking stuff up here, and Crystal's still booking things here and there, and but it's still filling up. So if people want to get any Saturdays here this year, you probably need to check out the dates on the calendar and see what's available, because it's filling up.
Yeah, she actually contacted me today on something, and I told her, I said, "Yep." I said, "I'll put the time on my tab." It's like, and what I owe you, what you owe me. So, yep, and
Yeah.
Yeah, she said something going on. So, but
Yeah.
hopefully, you guys will, roads start booking some more dates and everything, and I mean, especially with the winter months coming up here in a few months. That's the time to get in there, especially because there's heat in the building, and not a lot of locations have that. And
Yeah.
I had somebody the other day told me, she's like, "You should put air conditioning in here." I'm like, "You should write a check for about $250,000 so I can have that done." So like,
Yeah.
no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a fortune to put it in there at
Oh yeah, you can't. I mean, just
Ashmore.
to put it in and then just to pay for it, it's like
Yeah.
you couldn't afford to do it. Utilities are bad enough, and they're only going to go up. And I think it's getting tougher and tougher with stuff. But
yeah,
and then gas prices, it's going to be tough for the people trying to get out and investigate and all with just gas prices going up.
mm-hmm.
I think they're going to stay a little closer to home and stuff like that now because it's just so expensive.
Yeah. It's not been going down any, so that's for sure. But hopefully there'll be some kind of a break in sight sometime in the near future and get somewhat normal again, maybe.
I knew things were bad the other day when I went out to to Menards in Terre Haute, Indiana, to pick up some supplies, and I've been going over there, and I had it figured out where I could fill my tank, my truck up over there, drive back, drive home, go back over, and then go back over to Indiana again to pick up more supplies the following weekend, and I can fill up again and save money. Your gas prices in Indiana and Terre Haute have gone up above Illinois. And Illinois has ridiculous prices. Yeah, Illinois' prices because of the tax situation have always been horrible, but yours are worse, in Indiana there now. So, like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think the other day when I got out, I think it was like $5.19 or $5.16, I think, a gallon.
Yeah, there's a place I stopped at today and got gas here. It's $4.95, which is ridiculous still, but it's still cheaper than what you're paying over there.
It's pretty bad when you're like, oh wow, it's $4.95. Yeah, oh my god.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would have thought? Gina really, said it was $5.19. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle said it's $5.49 there today. Well, but you live in Podunk, little town there. But I'm surprised though because there's a small town that we go through, Windsor, Illinois, on the way out, and we stop to get gas there. I mean, it's like it has 2 pumps on the island. That's it, and but their prices there have been the best around. It's like, how can this little tiny town, there's not even a huge convenience store like that, so it's drawing you in. I mean, basically, if you have 2 cars pulling the lot, it's packed. So, but their gas prices are cheaper yet.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we're seeing a few of these $5.19, $5.29. What Terry was saying. Yeah, hopefully it'll ease off a little bit. Yeah, flights and car rentals are up. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I saw Chip complain about that the other day. It's like $300 for the weekend to rent a car and all, which is absurd. But I think that's going to happen. And flights, I think, are going up too. Like you said, and you're going to see. And that'll be interesting to talk to Brad because that's one thing that they have to take into consideration. They got all these guests coming in, and you're paying a fee, and then all of a sudden you're paying flights. But hopefully they've already booked flights in advance and got them at a decent price, because it's just crazy trying to do things like that now.
Yeah, it is. We'll see what happens. Hopefully things get a little bit easier and stuff, and if not, then hopefully, like a lot of the locals, start renting up Rhodes Hotel.
Yeah. That's like I have in the Michigan, when we go to Grand Rapids, Michigan, I had in my contract with them to bring the mystery sheet up there that if gas goes over $4 a gallon, it's going to cost additional amount. Well, who thought that was going to go up over $5 a gallon? And so and I got to talk to them again and say, I can't do this for this, so it's just no way. And it's like, can't go up there for that. And the other place I was going to in West Virginia, the same situation. It's like, you price something at a certain price, and it's like, you don't think about gas going up and stuff like that. So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like stuff like this is going on every day. I mean, it's crazy that it's just gotten how it has. I mean, and it's went up pretty quick. I mean, it really didn't take it too long to get up to that.
Well, I seen one location was charging additional amounts on new bookings that they bring in for because of the higher gas charges and everything like that. And I can understand what they're doing. I didn't think their wording was very good on what they're doing, because people just looked at it and thought it was just like they were just like charging a lot more money and all for things, and they are charging more. But I understand what they're doing is because, I mean, just like you're fortunate that you're there, and Gina's right there in town too that helps you out. So that's great. But like myself, I've got people that travel, and so it's not fair to them to have to pick up the total cost of that either. But I can't go out there and tell people that have already booked, you have to pay more now. And they weren't, the other location wasn't doing that. They're telling people that are new bookings that they're going to charge, just like if you look at your like your waste management or whoever your garbage disposal company is, they usually have a fuel surcharge on there. And so what they're charging so much, and then there's a fuel surcharge on top of that. So it's like, okay, well, your pickup service might be $20 a month, but there's also a $6 gas fuel charge on there that you don't think anything about. You just pay it because you have to. And so that's what they were doing on new stuff. They were charging I think $25 or something like that additional. And I thought, why not just raise your rate to the additional 25 on all new ones right now? You can lower it again. It just, rather than trying to explain it all to everybody what you're trying to do, because I think it confused people.
Yeah, and it could, it's probably one of those things. Maybe, like you said, maybe the wording was just a bit off, like with them trying to explain, hey, it's a temporary thing that we're doing, and it'll go back to normal.
Yeah, they mentioned it was temporary, but it just wasn't it wasn't good. It just didn't look good when they were doing it. So, Gina just walks down the street, so she didn't have too far to go, so that's good.
Yeah, just walk on over.
Terry, Ashley, and Abby, I see them. If they start walking, it's like, Terry, I think she's got to do one in about a week. So can you start walking now?
You can go ahead and start heading over.
Yeah, you might get there in time. Just carry your laptop with you, and you can do your regular day job while you're walking over. Not a problem.
Strap like something around your neck that like holds like a tray, or you can just be typing as you
That's
walk.
right.
Yeah, so got it all figured out.
She's got all those Dobermans. They can just pull her over.
Yep.
Now, you did send Brad the link, right?
I did, yes. I'm getting ready to send him a message just to let him know ready whenever he is.
Yeah, you and me both, Terry. I'd never get there either if I had to walk over. He's like, I don't think I'd get to the end of the street. So I'd be like, hey guys, page 911 and tell them just to send the EMS down to pick me up because I'll never get there. Oh, there he is. He's popping in now.
I just sent him a message and there he is.
You probably woke him up. He's out there. He's out there in Yoopers playing with Bigfoot or something. So
yeah, it's like, it's just Robbin and Mike. I want to go like look for Bigfoot and yeah.
Well, let's bring him in here so so we don't have to people don't have to listen to us anymore.
Yeah.
Hey,
thanks for having me on, guys.
What's going on?
Thanks for coming on.
Well, my computer decided to update at the last minute, of course. So I've been fighting with that, but always happens that way. And just sitting here chuckling, listening to you guys, piss and moan about gas, the same as we are up here in the UP.
Yeah.
Just before I hopped on with you guys, in fact, I was on booking some flights and doing some travel work for this year's Michigan Paracon. And let me tell you what, it's not pretty.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, when they were asking you about it, it's got to be tough when all of a sudden these flights and everything are probably jumping up crosswise.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year to say the least. Yeah, trying to get things booked and get people where they need to be, and it's not always the easiest in the first place to try and bring people to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And now this year, just the chaos surrounding flights. I was down in New Orleans a few weeks ago. Got less than 24-hour notice that a flight got canceled. Well, it turned out a whole slew didn't get any reason, had no clue why. There's worse places to be stranded than the French Quarter, of course. But
that's right.
Yeah, we, and it's just such a bizarre time right now. And what we kind of discerned coming back was lack of staff for the airlines. They just didn't have the people to make the flights go. So that's scary right now for me while I'm trying to book all this and get all the logistics together for the end of August for us.
Yeah, it makes it tough when you guys set up a financial schedule and everything, and you have your whole finances worked out, what you're figuring, everything, and then the airline flights have got to go up. It's like, okay, now you got to bring more people in, and then gas prices go up, so which makes it tougher probably for people to come up anyway.
Yep. Luckily, I guess our attitude going into this, when Tim Ellis and I set up the original Michigan Paracon, it was kind of the go big or go home attitude. We're in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, which is at the end of I-75. You go any further north and you're in Canada. And as Tim likes to tell people, you don't just wander off and end up in Sault Ste. Marie. You have to be coming here for a reason. So it's always that go big or go home mentality. If we were going to put something like this together, it had to be worth people's time to travel. So, and here we are. This is the 12th annual coming up this year. So 13 years later, should have been the 13th, but of course, all that wacky COVID stuff knocked us out a year. So yeah, it's still going. And like you said, Robbin, it's, trying to budget a year out because we really, all of our booking and everything starts. Right now we're starting to work on 2023 show, and we're 2 months out yet from 2022. So
right.
It's one of those X factors you just unfortunately have to try and figure in.
And on top of it, like you said a minute ago, like what happened to you in the French Quarter, I mean, when you went to Louisiana, you got the possibility of flights being canceled too.
Yeah. And we've dealt with that on good years. So in fact, I've just been talking to some of our presenters over this week and saying, hey, if you're on the West Coast, I'd like to try and get you in a day early just to avoid the possibility of canceled flights, of delays, because you're pretty limited once you get this way. You're either going to make it or you're not. If you're not, you're a day out. So yeah, it's the whole logistics of putting this thing together have not gotten easier over the years.
Yeah, I always kind of think that the airport, I have not been to the Sault Ste. Marie airport, but it has to be about the one like you see on the old sitcoms, Wings.
Well, don't blink. You'll miss it. It's it is a nice airport. It is one terminal. It is 2 flights in, 2 flights out a day. So that makes things interesting as well. We've, most years have Thursday's flights into Sault Ste. Marie completely booked up with talent and with our help employees, people coming in. So yeah, it makes it interesting. It definitely does. So we do get some people flying into different regional airports and some to Detroit that don't mind driving up from there. But now again, this year, rental cars all of a sudden.
Right.
I was talking to Chip Coffey a couple of weeks ago, and it was just trying to get things in order and hearing the prices on rental cars right now. And if you can even get one, it's going to be a fun year.
How far is the drive from Detroit?
About 5 hours.
Okay.
About a 5-hour drive. It's all highway, so it's not real bad. A lot of people will come in and spend a couple extra days, putz around Michigan, and eventually make one way or another. We've always made it work out. Even on the best of years, there's something that's going to come up. Somebody can't make it. Somebody's flight gets canceled, and you just roll with the punches. We've been doing this for long enough now that you make things work. I've always had the saying with the show that it's not what's happening behind the curtain that matters. It's as long as the people that are in the audience don't know, there's always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be some pain in the ass that pops out at the last minute. As long as you keep that all behind the curtain, everything will go well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And your show's always been a very good one. I mean, you guys did a great job with putting the whole thing together, bring a super amount of talent in, and it's always ran really smooth. Like I said, it may be behind the curtains there's issues going on, but people out front don't see that. And I've never seen anybody ever complain talent-wise about coming to your event, unlike some others that have popped up in the last couple of years. So that's kudos to you guys. Good job with that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not by accident, I guess. We've worked, like I said, we've worked at this for years now to try and make it. Our whole goal is that everybody comes in that door, that buys a ticket, that is coming, to see the celebrities, to meet the authors, that all of them go home having a great time and wanting to come back. And we've learned through the School of Hard Knocks. Year one, it's hard to believe we're on 12 now. Going back, our first year setting this up, Tim Ellis and I used to travel around to different paranormal shows and try to meet the different, not even celebrities, but veterans in the field. And we'd been investigating for years. And we threw together the idea, and we kind of bounced it off each other before. What if we tried something like this in our hometown? What if we, approached our hometown casino? And it was, everything came together at the right time, right place. But year one was a day and a half show. Now we're almost 3 full days. But we had wanted to get Jay and Grant from Ghost Hunters to headline. That was the big thing. We were trying to bring them in. The show was huge then. It had found its following. It was the show. So we put in for that. The promoter booking agent we were working with at the time said, well, those guys are already booked out, but we've got this other show that's starting to get big, and I can get you the 3 headliners from that. And the show was Ghost Adventures. And he was hooking us up with Nick, Zach, and Aaron at the time. So we're like, well, I guess we can settle for that, nowadays, looking back. But their flight, going back 12 years, 13 years, their flight got held up in Detroit. So they didn't make it until literally an hour before they had to be on stage as the headliners. We were sweating it a bit, to say the least. We had, that first year, I think we had around 800 in attendance, and you have 800 people when the show is supposed to be over, lined up, waiting to get autographs, get their picture taken with these guys. And we had no idea what to do. We're sitting, we had one little vendor room at the time. It's a bingo room at the casino, which we still use it now. We've expanded quite a bit, but yeah, we're sitting here, and we were supposed to have a VIP dinner going on. There were other things going on in the evening. And turned and looked at John Zaffis, who I'm more respect for than just about anyone in this field. I said, John, what in the hell do we do? He said, just go over there. You tell them no pictures, get the pictures after. Those guys were late. They can stand out there and take the pictures later. Just rush them through, get the autographs, let them sell their 8x10s. And we sped people through. It was a learning experience. I can tell you that. And every year there's something that pops up that you don't expect, and you roll with the punches.
It's grown so much since the first time I was there, because I think the 6th year that I'll be there.
You've been coming up for you guys quite a while.
Oh yeah, a long time. I mean, I think this is probably the 6th one coming up, I believe. And I've been grateful, that you guys have supported the charity and let us come up and sit up and.
Anytime. It's great having people in the field like you, Mike. It really gives a lot more credibility, and I think it gives a heart to the field. So, you with lost limbs, Tim Miley with Potographs, and just people that are giving back to the community in general. And that's something that, as the event has grown, we've always wanted to help out where we can. And we've made donations to different local organizations that we've worked with over the years, and we love having you in. And like I say, it's one of those things that if the paranormal community really wants to be taken seriously, and there's still, let's face it, there's always going to be a certain stigma around the whole field. But having people like you that are going back and giving back, I mean, I give you just so much respect for doing what you're doing and tying that in with the field. It's great. I think it bends the ears of a lot of people that otherwise hear ghosts and hauntings and would just turn the other way and say, well, that's all BS, blah, blah, blah. And then they hear, oh, well, this organization just gave X amount of dollars to this, and they're supporting this, and they're out, working at different operations and helping out in the community. I think that does give us some extra credibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much support in the field. I've learned there's tons of it. I mean, there's so many people that's been supportive. I mean, whether it's the charity or coming out, learning about, the hotel, and then supporting that way, wanting to investigate, and they're helping the charity and stuff out that way. And then like Robbin and I met at an event, and he just, started bringing the Mystery Machine out. And then next thing you know, he's like, helping out
Now
with
we won't
buying a
leave you alone.
hotel. Yeah, now I can't get rid of him. He's sitting right there he is,
Your sister knows how to do that. She just shoves the pie in my face and kicks me out the door. So.
If only it were that simple with everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was looking through the cast you have coming up this year. I mean, and I know you probably can't memorize every one of them, but who have you got?
That's why I have a monitor open next to me.
There you go. That's what I'm doing. The same thing over here. So
every year we always strive to make it a little bit bigger than the year before, and it gets more difficult, not just on a financial level. And like we talked about a little bit earlier, just the expenses of bringing people in, and the travel, and not to mention, the booking fees, et cetera, et cetera. But you're kind of at a point, I'm not sure which way the field is going to go as far as the entertainment side of things, the reality television. It seems to have peaks and valleys, but there's always certain names that you always want to have associated that people are always requesting, Jay Haas and the Ghost Hunters crew, and Amy and Adam and Chip from Kindred Spirits. This year we had a ton of requests for the Destination Fear Kids. So we finally got them signed. All four from that show will be coming in. But yeah, just to keep adding. And I always like going after something on the outskirts that's not just television, not strictly paranormal. This year we've got Dacre Stoker, the great grandnephew of Bram Stoker, who authored Dracula, coming in. It's the 125th anniversary of Dracula this year. So I have a hard time, I'm behind the scenes doing a lot of the work during the event. So very seldom do I get to actually sit in on a panel or a lecture. And that's the one that I want to catch this year. Is Dacre is tentatively speaking on Friday night. And I say tentatively, the schedule is not set in stone yet. We hope to have that out in the next 2 weeks on the website. But yeah, different people like that you can bring in and mesh in with the field that have maybe not a direct connection with the paranormal, but everybody in the paranormal field is familiar with, knows not necessarily who Dacre is, but by God, who Bram Stoker is, who Dracula is. So it was things like that we like to tie in as something different that other shows aren't necessarily doing.
Yeah, this year you got a few people that are coming up for the first year, which is great because, like you said, it keeps growing and growing, and it'll be fun. A lot of different faces that you've seen in the past. Still have some of the regular ones that are coming up, which everybody always wants to see. But yeah, we
always work new talent in. That's always a goal. And in fact, we're already talking to some people for next year. But just off the top of my head, I know this year Richard Estep, who's an amazing author. Never spoken here before. We've tried to get Rich before. He's coming in this year. MJ Dixon, who's widely known in England and that area of Europe. She's been over for a couple of different events that she's worked at, but she's never done Michigan before. And MJ and I have gotten to be friends over the years. So she's coming in to speak. Nikki Folsom, an author out of Texas, has never been here before. The Destination Fear crew, Bridget Marquardt, who I was just working on her travel itinerary before we got on. Bridget's more known for being the star of E! Network's Girls Next Door. She's a former Playboy Playmate. She's got a passion for the paranormal field. She hosts a podcast, Ghost Magnet, and she'll be here for the first time this year. So, yeah, we've got a lot of new talent being worked in, along with the old favorites, of course. The only person that's been here every year we've done the show is Johnny Zaffis. And we've always said, as long as we do it, John's going to be here. And if we didn't invite him, he'd probably show up anyway. So
exactly,
he'll be back in. But yeah, it's finding that fine line of new talent, new presentations to keep people interested, keep them attending the lectures, and mixing it in with the old familiars and the people that people keep coming back to see. Because a lot of people have established friendships with some of the presenters, some of the celebrities over the years that we know that have met here, that have become close, have formed bonds, and it's carried over onto some television work, onto some book work, some different authors that have met up, I know, and swapped ideas here that have turned into books. So yeah, we love seeing that.
Yeah, you know, it's so fun up there because like it's just like one big family. I mean, you know, over the years going up, I mean, it's so nice seeing everybody again, and everybody just hangs out and just has a good time. It's so much fun.
It's very laid back. If you've never been up here before, it's at a casino, and it's a very laid back atmosphere in the nighttime. You know, there's these people that you're watching on TV all year long that are on Travel Channel, on A&E, on whatever channels are showing paranormal programming. They're all pretty laid back. Most of them, they're regular folks that just, they were in the right place at the right time, and they're going to be hanging out at the casino at night. They'll sit and have drinks with you. A lot of them like to hit the card tables and the slots, and we can track them down there sometimes when they're supposed to be one place, and you know certain people who you go look for and what gambling room. But yeah, it's very laid back, and that's one of the best compliments we ever get from people is that, you know, we come to your show and it's like a family reunion every year. Like you just said, Mike, we've got people that fly in from all over the U.S. We've had people fly in from Australia, from England. And it's that melting pot of the paranormal that we get together. And everybody is just so laid back, and it's, you know, the next day you see people on social media. Yeah, I was having a drink in the back bar with Steve Gonzalez, and I was sitting playing slot machines next to Amy Bruni, and you get all this, you see all this stuff popping up, and how excited people are and how much they love the event, that it makes it worthwhile, because it's really a labor of love. I mean, this isn't something that we've ever gotten into to make a lot of money off of by any means. Like we were talking about earlier, the expenses keep going up and up, and we try and keep the ticket price down as much as we can. This year we're at it's 129 for the 3 days, and for 3 full days of lectures, the opportunities for workshops, galleries, different things along that's a pretty tight budget for us to work on, honestly. So, but we try and squeeze as much out and make sure people get their money's worth as possible.
Yeah, just looking at your you know, the lineup you have like 60 people, 60 guests that are coming in. You know,
yeah.
It doesn't take much. I mean, I put a few bets on myself, and you know, when you start throwing out hotel rooms and travel expenses, you know, for all that, it's some big dollars that people don't realize. So, you know, when they think, oh my God, it's $129, yeah, but you know, bringing these guys in, you're probably going to spend between $500 to $800 per plane ticket per person, just, you know, without anything.
This year, Robbin, that's on the low side. That is, I'm happy to see $500 to $600 on a ticket. And most people realize the expenses that we work with, that you know, we don't have a lot of the presenters that are demanding first class travel or anything extravagant. And they know what we have to work with, and they're great to work with us on it. And I've got great partners with the Sault Ste. Marie Convention Visitors Bureau, who I've teamed up with. And in our group, the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society, that we all come together and play very integral roles into putting the show on. But yeah, it's and Kuwait Casino has just been amazing to partner up with over the years. They've gone above and beyond to make sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes. It's been a great partnership. If it wasn't ran as well as it is, I don't think we'd still be here doing it. You say we don't do this for the money. We're out here, we're enjoying it ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be doing it this many years later.
Just throw it out there to people.
To the town.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Robin.
Just coming up to the town up there. I mean, I always get up there a day early, something like that, wander around. It's kind of just a cool town to wander through. And there's a guy that has a couple of shops down there. I always have to make sure I stop into the shop down there. What's the name of the stores that something Yooper, I think, if I remember right.
Well, Yooper Trading Company is a great place to get gifts for all your family and friends while you're up here. Great Lakes gifts as well. Yeah, it's a great town to wander around in the summer months. If you stop up in February, March, you're going to be here for a different reason, and you're going to be seeing a totally different town. It's very cold, very snowy, and it's a little. It switches gears after Labor Day weekend, you could say. We get a lot of winter sports up this way. You got to like the cold. It's an interesting place to live in. The Upper Peninsula in general of Michigan, it's a third of the state's land mass, but there's only 3% of the state's population that lives above the Mackinac Bridge here.
Oh, wow.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, there's miles and miles of undeveloped wilderness. You've got undeveloped waterfront, which is getting less and less common to find anymore, but you've got miles of Lake Superior waterfront that have never been built on. It's an outdoorsman's paradise, as we call it. So yeah, a lot of people come up and after the first year they've been here, that we hear, man, we wish we would have stayed longer. And working in the community as I do, I've got to see, and it's been a pleasure to see over the years, used to be maybe on Wednesday, you'd start seeing people walking around downtown that you recognize from the event. Now it's, the Monday before everything kicks off, I'll see people wandering down in the tourist district with Michigan Paracon 2019 t-shirts on. And, it's just a great feeling to bring people to our community and to help out the local businesses as well. So it's something we've, always prided ourselves on since year one, that if we could set up an event that could draw people to the area, we really think they'll love it the way we do. And for the most part, that's worked out.
And like one thing I'm going to throw out there to tell people, if you can't make it this year, if you think you're going to be there next year, as soon as tickets go on sale, they want those VIPs. And if they want to get the room rates there at the casino, they need to do it soon. They will sell out.
The VIP tickets, I was shocked how fast those went this year. I don't think they lasted a month, the 125 VIP seats we sold. And the hotel rooms, they were gone by the end of the year. Our vendor tables, we had a wait list for by January. If you want to check this stuff out, and if you want to get block pricing and get the tickets at the right rate, go through miparacon.com. You can call our partners. The number's listed there at the Convention Visitors Bureau. They'll help you through everything. I know we've got a wait list for hotel rooms this year, a mile long. We stopped putting people on a wait list for vendor tables when we hit about 25 that were waiting. So yeah, it's really humbling to see how the event's grown over the years, and just to see how fast things are selling out. And the people that ask, well, you've gone up to 3 days. Why don't you start it on Wednesday night now and run it through Saturday? And I just smile and say, no. we've maxed out. We're getting old. We're hitting the point. 3 days is plenty. It's time off work for all of our guys and everybody that comes in. Tara Boren, who runs our vendor operations and takes care of overseeing the room setup. She takes a full week off work and flies in early. And it's just the amount of behind the scenes work that goes into this event is phenomenal. And most of it is voluntary. which really makes it a humbling experience when everything comes together and you know that people are not just volunteering their time, but they're taking days off work. They're taking days away from their family. They're taking a weekend out of the summer, which our summers here can be pretty short. So to give up a full weekend, that's something in and of itself.
Terrace is great. Always enjoyed working with her, and she's fun to work with. And you know, she looks like she's about dragging by the end of the weekend, but she's still got that smile on her face in a way.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have her join up with us a number of years back, and if she wasn't doing, honestly, she's a younger sister to me. I absolutely love her. If she wasn't doing what she does for the event, I don't know that it'd still be going. It definitely wouldn't be running as smooth behind the scenes as it does, because she's the one that takes care of everything with the vendors. And most of the vendors are great, but you guys have done events enough. You know, there's always one or two, or often one or two, that no place that you put them, nothing you give them is going to be good enough. And they wanted to do this and they want it, and you just can't please everybody all the time is what it comes down to. And she does an amazing job on taking care of everybody for the weekend. So, you know, big thanks out to her and our partners with the Visitors Bureau that answer all the phone calls, help people get hotel rooms set up, help with all of the travel. It's such a great team effort to keep the show going. So, and as I said, we're already working on next year. It will be MI Paracon the 13th. So we're trying to do something a little special for that. Weekend before, as always, weekend before Labor Day weekend. We've got things rolling right now. Tickets will more than likely be on sale by the end of August at the show. So, yeah, like Mike said, if you weren't able to get here this year, if you're not able to make it up, then mark your calendar now. You've got no excuse to miss it next year.
That's right.
Yep.
You know, I noticed that, like you were talking about earlier, you got Bridget coming in. I don't know if you know it or not, but I was told that Jenny McCarthy is very much interested in the paranormal as well.
Well, Jenny should give me a call.
Oh, yeah. She's probably got your number.
Well, I would think so. I'll flip my Rolodex, see if I can get her. No, it's interesting, and we get requests all the time. And Bridget's just been great to work with. She is so down to earth, so laid back, and so into the field. I was very impressed the first time I spoke with her. We get requests often for celebrities along that lines, and Rob Lowe had the Bigfoot hunting show with his kids a couple of years ago, and we had a lot of people say, well, why don't you bring him in? And you know, there is a price cap on what we can afford. I'm guessing those names would be a bit above and beyond, but you know, sometimes you get people that are so interested in the field that they will come in just to come in to do it. So, you know, we've been
Jenny's in Chicago, so she's not too far.
Was that right?
Jenny's in Chicago, so she's not too far.
Well, that's not a bad drive then. So I could run down and pick her up.
There you go. I actually had a phone call from a producer that talked about her and Jack Osborne doing a show together, and they were interested in coming out to Ashmore. So that's why I knew she was involved with the paranormal.
I hadn't heard that about her myself either, so that's very interesting. We'd reached out to Jack this year, and he has so much going on and just got married again. And he was just way too busy. We're hoping to eventually get him in here. Let's see, you know, it's people like that you love to see come in. The fans would love to have here. It's just, you don't realize how much some of these people do behind the scenes. And I know with Jack, he's heavy onto the production side of things. And he does a lot more behind the scenes. He's not just showing up, filming an episode, and taking off back to Ozzy and Sharon's to hang out for the week. You know, he is a busy guy. And a lot of people in the field are. It seems that the longer that you last very long in the field, you're not just hopping in front of the camera. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that most of the people in the shows that have made it for years are actually involved with as well. I know you guys can attest to that. That's yeah.
Maybe 13 to be the lucky number for Jack, right?
We'll see. We're hoping. You know, we're hoping. We always try to bring in, you know, the top names that we've never had here, which it's gotten to be very few actually, where we look around in the field and see who we haven't had. Most people have at least made an appearance one year or another. Some people are just too busy. Some people are filming. So it doesn't always, we do surveys every year. We look at what people want. We try and get back to as many people as we can on social media when they reach out, especially if they're polite about reaching out, not, hey, you guys need to get her, I'm not coming, blah, blah, blah. We run into that all the time too. But yeah, it's the better the show can be, the more people enjoy it, the more fun we're going to have. And, it gives us more reason to keep doing this. So we've had a lot of people ask, especially the last couple of years after COVID, how much longer do you guys plan on doing the event? And Tim and I and the rest of the UPPRS team, we've sat and talked before and said, when it stops being fun and it starts being just work for us, that's about the time we'll look at hanging it up. Right. And luckily we haven't hit that point yet.
Yep. I know you're kind of big in Bigfoot. And so Marla had a question about Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah. Search turning up. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. It's a good question, Marla. We've been getting calls, and here, as I stated earlier, in the Upper Peninsula, there's a lot of forest land that nobody ever trods through. There's a lot of water sources. There's a lot of wildlife and vegetation food sources. Last year, I received 2 different calls within the same about a 2-month period of people in our region in the eastern side of the UP that had, one had a Bigfoot sighting while she was out hiking on a wilderness trail. And she sent some pictures and they were very interesting. You don't see a face, but you can see fur sticking out next to a tree about 8 feet up. And she mentioned just having this real feeling of awe. And then the flight or fright kicked in and she took off. She said, I didn't want to be there to see what was going to come out from behind there. Yeah. But she was pretty convinced about what she was dealing with. Another lady just outside of Sault Ste. Marie had called. Tim and I went out and checked it out. She'd had a footprint, one solo footprint that was right off the side of a road onto a gravel road. It was right near a wilderness preserve, very rural area. And it was about 16 inches long. She'd thought to cast it. She knew a little bit about cryptozoology, and she made a cast of the foot, and it was quite interesting to see. She wouldn't let us take it. She wanted to keep it. We've got a ton of pictures of it. And I brought him to Cliff Brackman from Finding Bigfoot. And I showed Cliff and I said, these are, the dimensions. And he took a look and said, it's actually a really good, fairly standard Squatch print. So I don't know. I have never encountered one myself. I've spent a lot of time in the woods. You always hear a lot of crunching and breaking, and you don't know if it's a deer, a squirrel, a bear, or maybe a Sasquatch walking behind you. As far as the scientific community goes, I think they're making some pretty good strides right now towards explaining away some things that people were claiming they thought were Sasquatch encounters, but also the Expedition Bigfoot show on Travel Channel now. We've got a couple of the guys from that, Brownie LeBlanc and Derek Accord that are coming in, Russell Accord, excuse me. And those guys do a pretty interesting job. I've caught some of their shows and just the scientific approach they're taking. It's one of those things. I'm still kind of on the borderline myself. I don't know about you guys, but can there be a creature of that size walking around in the forests of America and not be picked up on satellite, not be found as a corpse? It seems there's a lot of reasons that this shouldn't be out there. But then you look at some of the evidence people bring in, like I said, the 2 sightings that we had last year that we were called in on. You think, man, maybe there is something to this. So it's one of those things too that I don't know that I would really want to see Bigfoot's existence proven, because it kind of takes away the mystique and the magic. And this is one of the things that, when we were kids, Tim, myself, Steve LaPlante, the 3 members that founded our group, we've been friends since first grade. And when we were kids, we'd be on our bikes going to the library, every week to check out everything that we could get on Bigfoot, on cryptozoology, on UFOs, the Loch Ness Monster, ghosts, of course, and hauntings. You name it, anything strange and weird, that's what we were into. And that's what really formed the path for where we've gotten to today. And there's still kind of that childlike mysticism to the whole idea of these unknown creatures that are out there. So whether I'd be excited if I found out that, yes, science acknowledged that there's the existence of this 8 to 10 foot wild man walking around in the forest, it would take away some of the magic, I think, for me. So I like having those mysteries still out there in life.
I kind of agree with you. The one thing that I always kind of wonder is, like, how can all these Mike Couch Sasquatches be running around? Because there's always one print. That's it. You never see these 2 footprints. It's always one.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I know what he's going to say with that. I know where he's gonna go.
That's exactly what we encountered with this one last year too. It was as if it had stepped off the side of a road onto a dirt gravel area. So that's what we explained that as. Unfortunately, it wasn't right away when she got a hold of us. It was several days later. So most of the original had been washed away. But yeah, I don't know. As far as science goes, there's a certain arrogance, I think, to modern science that in this, I speak more as the paranormal ghost hunter guy that I've always been interested in, that, this can't exist. Like, well, you can't prove it with what science is at today. Obviously there will be progressions over the years. And I think, like we talk about residual hauntings, and I really, honestly, my opinion on it, it's something that's burnt into the atmosphere. The energy stamp is there. And I think at some point science will be able to explain these away. I think it's just going to be a form of energy, and this is this, and it's not the soul of a deceased person. It's not some entity trying to communicate. This is just something that's playing back from something that happened there. And I just don't think science is to that point yet. And it might be the same with cryptozoology. They might just not be to the point where there are things they don't understand. There are things they can't explain yet. It doesn't mean they'll never be able to.
Mike, you better ask your questions here before you forget. Before he gets past too late, and it's like, you didn't ask him.
Yeah. So I got a few questions. One of them I stole from someone else, Jenny. But I'll ask the other one first. If you could investigate anywhere in the world, where would you investigate at?
Man, there's a handful of places. I've never been to Waverly Hills yet, oddly. And I've gotten to travel a lot. And I've investigated a lot of different places around the world at this point. Waverly is definitely on the bucket list. Poveglia, I think, would definitely be up there. So many places. I love the history of Europe too. And anytime I get a chance to go over and check out these old castles and ruins, and you talk about American history and places in America that, oh, well, this house is over 100 years old. It must be haunted. And then I've gone to places like Romania, and we're staying in a hotel that was built in the 1500s. And you think, it kind of puts the perspective there. What is old? What is an old building? Where has this energy been building over the years? So, yeah, those are some of the places, and there's not one, I guess, end all be all that if I got to, I would say, that's great. I'm satisfied. I'm always wanting to go further, and I hope I always feel that way.
So the other question, which is, again, I apologize to Jenny for stealing this, but when I was asked this, I stopped and I was like, I got to think about this. But the question was, if you could investigate with any 3 people, alive, dead, or fictional, who would you pick?
Alive, dead, or fictional? Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it really is. Harry Price is one of my favorites from the history of the paranormal field. There was a lot of there's a lot of naysayers around Harry, but I think at the heart of it, he was truly interested in moving the field forward. Maybe there might have been a little bit of deceptiveness as he was going. He was one of the first really public ghost hunters that had a lot of media around him, and he started to learn how to play the press a little bit to his game. And I've read several biographies on Harry. You can read one and think, wow, this guy was amazing. He did this and this for the field. And then you read another one and think, this guy was the biggest shyster that ever lived. So I would definitely say Harry would be one of those. Hans Holzer, I'd never had the chance to meet Hans, but I've read so much of his stuff, and he just really loved the field. Anything in the way of the weird and strange. I think he would have been a fascinating one to go out with. One who I really had a lot of admiration for and got to be very good friends with, but I never actually investigated with, was Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who was, we were very fortunate. She'd approached us a number of years back, Tim, myself, and Steve LaPlante, and said, have you guys ever thought about writing a book on your case files? So, you've got 20 plus years of experiences and you're in a very unique area. And we ended up teaming up, and she published our book, Supernatural Haunts. She wrote the intro to that, and her husband, her widower, Joe, went ahead and published a follow-up book that Tim and I put out, Great Lakes Monsters and Mysteries, which delves more into cryptids and UFO sightings and just strange, bizarre things from all over, really the Midwest, but the Great Lakes region. So I would say those three. If I could put the three of them together and be out in the field with them, I'd be in heaven.
Good choices.
I've got actually picked up some equipment from Rosemary Ellen Guiley 15 years ago or something like that she was selling some that I had some Frank's boxes that she owned. And so I've got those, and people are always talking about selling stuff. I'm like, those boxes will never leave my hands until I'm dead.
I bought her Black Mirror scrying book from her, and we got talking one year. And about a week later, after this event, I had this package show up at my house, and handwritten card, Brad, now that you have the book, here's a mirror to practice on. Love, Rosemary. And I've still got the card on her stationery, and that mirror sits in my office, and that'll never leave. And she was such a strong woman. She was so amazing. And to have her as a coach / teacher writing that first book, that's an experience you just can't put into words. Miss her a lot. So yeah.
You mentioned your books. Tell us about your books and where people can get them.
Yeah, they're both available on Amazon. I'm working on conceptually on a third one now, but Supernatural Haunts, that covers 20 plus years of case files. They're all public locations in the weird, wild world of Michigan's Upper Peninsula that we've called home for all of our lives, most of us. The second one is Great Lakes Monsters and Mysteries. And as I said, we get more into the cryptids in that. There's some unique Bigfoot stories, cover some black-eyed kids, UFOs, hauntings, ghost ships, a little bit of everything. We really went back to our childhood on this one and all those trips to the library and reading about all these things and thinking, man, what wasn't in those books? What that we could put together? And they're both available on Amazon. They're also available at supernaturalhaunts.com. Which is our own website, so we can get you personalized copies through there.
And you'll have some of those in Michigan also then at the event.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We whore ourselves every chance we get. So.
Nothing wrong with that. So
no,
gotta do. Now, I'm really excited too, because you and Tim are coming in February. I know it's like, months away, but you guys are coming down here to the event we're doing for Lost Limbs Foundation in February. So I'm looking forward to you guys coming down here.
So are we, because we've never been down yet. So that's going to be fun. And getting out of northern Michigan in February is not the worst time of year to take a trip south. So might not seem south to you guys, but for us, when we're leaving 15 below and 5 feet of snow, that's a nice little reprieve. So we're looking forward to that. I didn't know if we could say anything about that yet or not. So
no, that's fine. Actually, I announced it. That event we sell out about 3 or 4 hours after I announce it. And I usually announce it at 11:30 in the morning, the day of the event. So 2023 is sold out as of about 4 or 5 o'clock in February of this year. So it's already gone. And this was the first year actually I announced who were going to be the speakers, because this sells out even without naming speakers. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. You and Tim and the Kling brothers and Katie are going to be up here, and I got a couple other ones that are going to be in here as well too. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, absolutely. No, we're very thankful for you to ask us down. Even that's going to be so much fun, and we still love road tripping. That's where everything that formed the Michigan Paranormal Convention came from, is from Tim and I, sometimes Steve, sometimes some of the other guys in the team, saying, hey, let's hop in the car and head to the Chicago Ghost Con. Let's go down to Florida and check out this TAPS Con event. Let's go do this ghost hunt at the Stanley Hotel. So, it was just that, always striving to keep moving forward in the field. And you meet the greatest people in this field. I don't care, what your suasion is in life, what you do, you get such a melting pot in the paranormal field. Like you're talking about Jenny McCarthy being interested, and Rob Lowe, different people from different ways of life, that it's one topic that's non-political, non-controversial to a point that you can get everybody together and you're not having huge arguments over. You get some great discussions. But you don't see people at a paranormal event really butting heads. Right. And you don't see, I might argue your Sasquatch might be my alien. We can argue that point, and there's so many different theories in the field, and it's such a theoretical field as it is that nobody's necessarily proven right, but at the same point, you can't necessarily say anyone's wrong either. So it's a lot of fun to have these discussions and get together with somewhat like-minded people. Sometimes they're not, but it's what makes the world go around.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. You gonna make it there, Mike?
I think so. I might survive it.
Sounds like you could use a hot toddy there.
There you go. Yeah. Speaking of hot toddies, I got to ask you: do you have a few Blatz for the Blatz brass while you're down there?
Every chance I get.
I didn't know they made. I quit drinking years ago, but I didn't know they make Blatz anymore. But I guess they still do.
Well, it's an acquired taste, but yeah, it's out there. We have a little bit of a drought going on in the UP right now. My favorite bar down the street from where I tend to work is we've been out for a couple months now, so I'm gonna have to make some phone calls, write some letters, maybe stand out front with a protest sign, but we'll get it back in. It's the beer champions.
When I was playing hockey and we were traveling out a lot of different places, a lot of towns, we'd always go in for the cheapest beer we could. It was usually Blatz or Falstaff or Stag, and it's like, just give us whatever the cheapest is, give us 50 of them, and we'll be fine.
Well, I found out in college, back in the 90s, that if I bought a case of Blatz and went to a party and put it in the fridge, that was the last beer anybody was going to steal. So if I had a case of 24 and I had 8 or 9, then chances are I was coming home with the other remainder of it. So
there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Good economics.
That's right. Yeah, smart thinking in college. So. Well, Mike, you got anything else for Brad? Because I don't want to wear out the welcome here with him.
Oh, no.
I don't believe so. It's been fun getting to talk.
Well, so glad you guys had me on tonight. Now, really look forward to seeing you guys come the end of August. So,
oh yeah,
it's looking right now like we're going to have record crowds there. We've got a great lineup. As I said, you can check everything out at miparacon.com. I know some of the side events are sold out. The ghost hunt that we do on a Great Lakes freighter, that sold out fairly quickly. But there's still some tickets to some of the workshops. Tim Shaw's doing a great workshop on cleansing locations. We just put up Patty Negri's Psychic Gallery. Chip Coffey's doing a gallery. Brian Danhausen's doing an energy painting workshop, which I would love to sit in on if time permits. But still a lot of this stuff out there and available. But usually everything does sell out as far as workshops and galleries. So if you're interested, don't wait too long to get those tickets.
Yep, just jump in the miparacon.com and grab those tickets to everything, and I guarantee you'll have a blast. It's not like some other events that you go to that people don't show up because they didn't get paid and things like that. Everybody will be there. Yeah, I'll go there. I don't care. Everybody will be there that can make it. Obviously, you always have people that have business situations that they can't because they may have to work, or all of a sudden their show's filming and they weren't expecting that or something. So that happens. But for the most part, I would say 90 to 95% of everybody you guys usually book show up.
Yeah, it's been a while. There've been flight issues, and as you said, there've been last minute changes in travel plans for filming that have pulled people away. But we don't advertise people we don't have signed. That's a general rule. I can show you a contract for any person that's on our list right now for the roster for this year, and they all get paid.
There you go. Yep, that's the thing. And or you wouldn't be doing it as long as you've been doing it. That's for sure.
No, that's for sure. So we've had a lot of there's been some controversy, I know, in the events area in the last year, and I've got to say kudos to all of our presenters that have stepped up and let people know that our show is above board.
Oh yeah, and every one of those celebrities that you have come in will say the same thing. And I know I've talked to Destination Fear guys before, and they've become some friends of mine and all. And they're like, Michigan Paracon, I'm like, you guys got to go. Get the chance, you got to go. And so I'm so glad to see that they're coming up, and they draw a huge crowd. They'll have a lot of fun.
It's interesting because I haven't met them personally yet, but we had such a big demand last year of people saying, why didn't you bring these guys in? Why don't you get these? So, we went out and went after them. And I've had so many people reply that I'm coming up because my kids want to meet them. My son wants to meet Dakota. My daughter wants to. The only other person I can even compare to of how many people saying they're bringing their families to meet somebody in the paranormal field is Josh Gates. Whenever we have Josh here, there's a ton of kids that show up that want to meet him with that crossover appeal. And it was interesting because it's very similar what I'm seeing as far as the demographic of people that are coming in and bringing their families that want to meet the Destination Fear crew. So they will be here. They're coming in for the whole weekend. So hopefully we'll present on Saturday. As I said earlier, we don't have the schedule set yet, but hopefully in the next week to 2 weeks, it'll be posted up on the website.
Well, I'll say that I was just talking to them last week, and they're looking forward to coming up there. They're looking forward to it, and they're a great bunch of kids. They're down to earth. Since you haven't met them, you'll love them. They're not they don't have their noses up in where they'll drown in a rainstorm or anything like that. But yeah, you'll have a good time with them. And Mike's been around them quite a bit too.
I've heard nothing but good things on them, so we're very much looking forward to having them.
So it's gonna be a fun weekend.
Okay. Yep.
Always
everybody get your tickets. So yeah, it always is, and it's a long weekend too. By the time you get done at the end of the night, headed down to listen to some Dustin Perry karaoke and things like that.
Nobody hits Elvis quite like Dustin.
Yeah, and Zappis hates it. So
all the more reason.
It's always fun to hear Dustin's story about driving Johnny down to Waverly Hills, actually is where it was, and for 15 hours or what it was. And
15 hours in a snowstorm both ways, uphill the entire way. Yep.
And it keeps getting longer and longer the longer Zappis tells the story.
I think a lot of people in the field know that story by heart at this point.
Exactly. So, well, Brad, thanks a lot for coming on to us and with us tonight. And we're looking forward to coming up and seeing you guys out there in a couple months.
Just 2 months away.
Yep, it won't be long.
No.
All right.
Love to see it come, and we're thrilled when it's done.
My exact sentiment every time I do an event, I always tell everybody the same thing. It's like exciting to have, but it's exciting to be done. So, all right.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Robbin.
Yep.
Have a good night.
We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
Alrighty. Night. It's always great to have Brad out and all. He's a super guy. He's always been very supportive of everything, and so. good guy to have on. And if you haven't picked up his books, you haven't seen them, jump on Amazon, pick it up. Brad Blair. You could probably just search under Brad Blair or Yoopers or something like that, and check it out. But yeah, if you haven't been to the event, you got to get there. One thing I like about their event, and didn't say it when Brad was on it, and I could have, is that they bring a lot of people in, but it's not like it's so overcrowded. It's not like going to some of the Comic Cons where there's 300 people in line.
Yeah.
And you might get a chance to talk to somebody. And they don't have, they have a good crowd, but it's not jam packed where there's 60 people standing in line waiting, unless it's a situation like a Josh Gates or something like that, where they're bringing him in limited time. He's going to be there. But you can sit in there. You'll be able to talk to these people that come to his event. I mean, they'll be out there. They'll be at the tables. They'll be willing to talk to you and everything. So yeah, it's not it won't be crazy. Like some of these big events you go to that just pack the people in there. 30,000 people in there for a small event.
Yep. Yeah, and everybody walks around. I mean, after everything shuts down for the event and stuff, like what Brad was saying, I mean, see them out running around, playing the slot machines or just hanging out and like talking to people and taking pictures and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and after you go to these so many times, these guys become friends. They're just, because you see them so much. And I remember walking down the aisle a few years ago up in Michigan, and John Zapp yells, "Robbin!" in his usual voice, "Come here." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We haven't taken a picture lately. Get a picture." I'm like, okay. And he hands my phone to Amy. Of course, Amy takes a picture of herself first before, like, oh, one of my tricks. And then takes a picture of John and I. But I mean, that's just what it is. It's just, they're just good people. They're up there having a good time. So it's a lot of fun. So if you haven't had a chance to get up there. The atmosphere in that place is so much different than most events you go to. So,
yeah.
And I think that Sean Porter's going to be up there this year too. Again.
Yeah, so, I think. Yeah, it seemed like he mentioned something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said something about coming up there, and he's going to be up there. So that'll be another money well spent show. By the time you get done buying some equipment from Sean and everything from Ghost Stop. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm about ready to get out of here for the night.
Call it a night. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of one of those long days, so it's about time to get out and wander upstairs. I'm still in the office, so after the meeting, come back to the office. So, but other than that, but yep. Let me see now. Who's next week? John Tenney, right?
John Tenney, yeah.
Yep, that's what I thought. Mr. John Tenney will be here next week, and so we'll be talking. We got to talk a lot of UFO stuff with John, because he's really big in the UFO stuff. And I mean, we talk a lot of ghost stuff. We talk some Sasquatch stuff, but with Tenney coming on, you got to hit the UFO stuff.
Yeah, got to switch it up a bit.
Yeah, I let him borrow Frank's box 2 years ago at Michigan Paracon, and he kept it for supposed to keep it for a year, but then because of the pandemic, he ended up with it 2. And he had a lot of stuff. He said a lot of personal things that caught with that. But so it'll be interesting to talk to John and see what it is. Yeah. I know he did some UFO experiments with that box. There's not doubt in my mind about that. So maybe he'll share some of that with us. So
hopefully so.
Only hope. Yeah, one can only hope. Okay, well, I'm out of here, and we will see everybody next week here at the same time, same bat channel.
Yep. All right. See you guys.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
My name is Mike, and I'm the founder of the Lost Limbs Foundation. The Lost Limbs Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides assistance to amputee children in need of prosthetics. I started the charity after my own struggles after my leg being amputated just above the knee. Prosthetics cost thousands of dollars, and the average lifespan is 5 to 7 years on a prosthetic. Kids are constantly growing, so they'll go through multiple prosthetics throughout their life. This is the prosthetic leg that I use, and the cost was about $70,000. The Rhodes Hotel is in Atlanta, Indiana, and is owned and operated by the Lost Limbs Foundation. We are currently doing photo shoots, ghost hunts, and special events to help raise money for the charity. For more information, you can go to lostlimbsfoundation.org. With your help, we can help these kids one step at a time.